They come here 2-3 times a week, but often the game is not the only thing on their minds. Although they're retired, the daily dose of bad economic news reaches the Deanland retirement community in southeastern England. George Graham is a retired merchant mariner. For many years he lived off his pension plan and wise investments, but that's changing.
And my concern is now that as I get older, if I ever have to go into a nursing home, how will that be paid for?
Pat Marshall is a retired city planner. She worked for her London district's government and put her pension money in savings and stocks.
My money has gone down and down and down. So I'm now back working for Southwark Council. I thought, that I'd be reasonably well off and I could have little holidays. But, I didn't have a holiday last year.
It all began to unravel when the subprime mortgage bubble burst in the United States last year, but in today's globally intertwined economies, it quickly spread. Major banks in Europe, too, were on the verge of collapse and had to be rescued by governments. The housing market plummeted, stocks went into free fall. Credit dried up, shops closed, factories laid off workers. Oxfam, the international aid organization, says many people in Britain are experiencing hardship and more will do so. Kate Waring heads Oxfam's anti-poverty programs in Britain.
The position is getting worse for anyone who's living on a fixed income. So for people who are on the state pension, for people who are on fixed benefits, those benefits are not keeping up with the increases in the cost of living.
And hardship has spread beyond Europe, as these images from the development group ActionAid show. The crisis is being felt in poor countries, for example in South Africa, says Claire Melamed of ActionAid.
We've been hearing a lot about the car industry, the problems of the car industry in Europe and in the States. And these miners in South Africa who are producing the metal that goes into the cars, they're losing their jobs by the tens of thousands. And of course, a lot of those miners came from other countries in Africa to find work. And we're hearing stories, for example, of girls in Malawi who are being forced to leave school because the money that was paying for their education was coming from mine workers in South Africa.
The recession is adding to hardship already caused by a rise in food and fuel prices and climate change, says ActionAid, with harvests becoming more precarious. ActionAid says it's up to world leaders at the G-20 summit to take action. Politicians have taken note, holding one round of meetings after another to devise a common strategy. Billions have been pumped into stimulus packages. Promises have been made.
We're prepared to take whatever action is necessary to ensure that growth is restored, and we are committed to do that for however long it takes to do that.
But so far the measures have not taken hold, and many warn there's worse to come before it gets better. Far away from the corridors of power, Pat Marshall is skeptical that things will get better anytime soon.
They can have as many meters as they like, but it doesn't really do anything for us.
And as world leaders debate economic strategies, people here simply want results for their everyday lives. Sonja, VOA News, Deanland Retirement Community, Southeast England.